Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another episode of Fallout Recipes. This is, I believe, episode 4 now. Today we are doing our first actual food item, which is kind of awesome, finally moving into the food items. Today's recipe is blue cornbread muffins. Cornbread muffins are a staple of any delicious spread. Well-ground cornmeal is recommended for this recipe. If you can't find it in your bountifully stocked vault storage rooms, just place coarse cornmeal in a food processor and run until there are finer particles. Yellow cornmeal works as well. Corn is delicious, and I don't know why more recipes don't use it. I suppose its odd color is a little off-putting, but I've cooked up much stranger-looking things. That is probably true. This recipe will increase your luck stat by 1 for 30 minutes. This is an easy difficulty recipe, 15 minutes of prep, 30 minutes of cook, 12 to 14 muffins. It pairs well with Carol's Mystery Meat Stew or ribs. We aren't pairing it with anything, we're only cooking one item. So this one, it's not horribly complicated with the number of items. We need 1 1/4 cups of finely ground blue cornmeal, 1 cup all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon salt, a half teaspoon of ground turmeric, a teaspoon of ground cumin, 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, a third of a cup of unsalted butter that has been melted and cooled, a cup of buttermilk, an egg, a half cup of sugar, and a 1/4 cup of honey. You're also going to need a muffin pan of some kind and preferably some kind of liner for it, which I have all that. Thankfully, I remembered to get that. That's all you need for this. You don't need like cream or anything like some of the other recipes do. Your first step is going to be to go ahead and preheat the oven to 400 degrees, which has not happened just yet. You'll hear it go off when it does. So we're going to let that continue going on the side. So step 2 is to combine the cornmeal, flour, baking powder, salt, turmeric, cumin, and coriander into a large bowl. So I'm going to be doing stuff like that off screen because I've noticed from the other videos it gets like really kind of loud on the camera and stuff, and I don't think people care to see me measuring that stuff out and hearing me wash the things out after each ingredient I put in, so I can put in a different ingredient into my mixing items or into my cups, measuring cups. I don't know why I said mixing, because we're going to be mixing a bunch of stuff. The only item I do not have, though, I do not have blue cornmeal. I have never even heard of that before this recipe, and I couldn't find it at Kroger. So instead, we are going with white cornmeal and combining it with some blue food coloring. Ingenuity for the win. So I'll be back in just a few moments once I have combined this first set of ingredients together. And we are back. That is all of our dry ingredients, for the most part, mixed together. We still have to put the sugar in, but they want you to put the sugar in the second set of stuff. Looks pretty good. I'm sure I got the measurements and stuff right this time, because I'm not trying to make a double batch or anything like I did that other time. So for the next step of the recipe, we need to combine the cup of buttermilk, 1/3 cup of unsalted melted cooled butter, an egg, half a cup of sugar, and a 1/4 cup of honey into a separate bowl and whisk them together. Once that's done, we add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients and mix until combined, but do not overmix. What qualifies as overmixing, I have no idea, but I will see you guys back here once that is done. Alright, and the so-called wet ingredients plus sugar have now all been combined. Excellent. So you're probably wondering why I am mixing this in basically a cooking pot, and that's just because I didn't have another good sized bowl. I didn't know how big this was going to end up being, so I just went ahead and put it in this. I mean, it mixes just fine in here, so it's not a big deal. So we're going to mix that up with our whisk, because I have a whisk now. I mean, I had it for the last video anyway, but still. People were commenting on that, like, how do you not have a whisk? And I thought I had one. Apparently I just did not. So now we have to add the wet to the dry and mix until they're combined, but do not overmix, whatever that means. So, let's move that in a bit closer. I gotta say, this is the most complicated cornbread I think I've ever made. to be completely honest. So now we just mix that up. And we have to mix it until it is all thoroughly combined. It looks almost, actually that's looking pretty okay, because I've made cornbread before, like with my grandparents, but not, that was actually interesting because it wasn't like a sweet cornbread, it was just a sort of more, I guess you could say, what would the right word for that probably be, just sugar-free cornbread, because it was just like butter, cornmeal, flour, maybe one other thing. Actually, that's looking pretty okay now. But with that, we also need to add in just a bit of blue food coloring, since, like I said, I could not find any blue cornmeal. I found yellow. I would think maybe 3 drops should be enough. That's more green than it is blue. That's definitely more like green than it is blue. I think someone mislabeled the food coloring because that looks much more green than blue. Maybe it's just the way the light's shining on it. Okay, well that's like the least important part of this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The next step, fill each muffin cup 3/4 of the way up with the batter and then bake for 12 to 15 minutes until the tops are golden brown and a toothpick inserted into the center of a muffin comes out clean. I don't have a toothpick, but I have the muffin tray and the little paper linings for it, so that's not going to be a problem. So I think the best option for this actually is going to be to scoot it out. This is going to be the best option. Alright, so let's take this oatmeal looking stuff and we're going to fill up 12 muffin things because that's all that fits in here. And that's all that I have linings for. I have a bigger tray as well, but I don't have any liners for it. I guess it probably wouldn't matter in the end, and I might still make that anyway if these come out well. Alright folks, I think that actually looks pretty okay. I'm going to get a paper towel real quick and wipe off some of the excess stuff. And then after that, I'm going to, since I have a lot left over because I think this was intended for larger muffins, I'm just going to put it in the larger tray that I have and just say, screw it, I'll clean it later if I have to. So it's not a big deal if I have to do it that way. I mean, a little extra cleaning, that's what dishwashers are invented for, right? And much better, actually. I think that looks pretty solid. So now we're going to take this and put it in the oven over here for 12 to 15 minutes or until like the tops are golden brown and all. So I probably should have gotten something to put on my hands. And we're in. Alright, I will see you guys in like 15 minutes. I gotta say, these things came out pretty nicely. I'm actually very surprised at my ability to properly cook these. Oh, well, that's disappointing. It stuck to the paper a bit. Wonder if I was supposed to actually do something to the paper. Alright, so now we get to see me try one of these bad boys. Okay, everybody, here goes. It's pretty good. Pretty good, actually. The spices, you can sort of feel the spices in there, but they aren't, like, overpowering to it or anything. It's actually not bad. I do wish they weren't all stuck to the inside of the cups, though. This one came out a little more nicely. They got just that little bit of sweet to them, that little bit of spice to them. Really aren't bad though. Not bad at all. So let me know what you guys thought of my first actual food item from the cookbook. Everything so far has been drinks And I will go ahead and say the next item will be a drink, but it'll be coming out very soon because I already have the ingredients with me. I mean, I already picked up all the ingredients I needed. I have like 3 of the 5 with me already, so just need to pick up like 2 more. So yeah, that's gonna be the next item will be a drink, and then we'll go to another food item after that. So see you guys then. Okay, this is being recorded just a little bit after the previous, or after the actual video, the rest of the video. Look at this, the big ones. As I put the big ones in the other tray, it's still kind of hot, so this is burning me a bit, without any sort of paper or anything, and they came out better. Like, what? How did they come out better? Tastes just as good though. Tastes the same, it's the same mixture, so it should. Okay, well, that's weird. I don't know how that happened, but okay. Now I'll see you guys for the next one.